𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿 and her team planting hundreds of bamboos at one portion of 𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿𝗱 Forest Reserve. This was in June 2021. The initiative would not only provide vegetation to the environment, but create an economic empowerment program for women. About 2 years ago, the government, through the Forest Plantation Development Fund Management Board, started assisting farmers to plant trees on different hectares within the reserve while farming alongside.
And so, as graduates, it's an opportunity for us to also contribute to our survival on earth, because as the adage goes, if the last tree dies, the last man also dies. And so life in the city depends on the forest. The fresh air we breathe in the city is from the forest. The good water that we drink is from the forest. The medicines that we take from the hospitals are from the forest.
The program will not only restore the forest but also increase food production through the adoption of agroforestry systems.
So abuame pa sanse dente ameka sa abuame no na sa dwumade we ma ha no na ye problem pa na eba ha no me amtimu se abuame.
It has helped me a lot because life was hard in the past. Last year, for instance, I had a bumper harvest. That was what I used to take care of my children. I would plead that you allow us to continue to grow crops for some time. The farming is beneficial to us, so let us continue to cultivate our crops, and the trees would also be able to grow. Over 200 hectares of the degraded 𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿𝗱 Forest Reserve in the Mankranso Forest District would be restored. Here is Benito 𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿𝗱𝗍, Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
I came to visit a scheme that we are modeling here. We are experimenting it here, and that is part of the youth in afforestation, but this one is being sponsored by the Plantation Fund Board. And the board, what they are doing is that 125 participants have been divided into groups of 3 each, and each group is planting in 5 hectares. Yes, and what they are planting is 𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿𝗱𝗍, mahogany, 𝗕𝗲𝗏𝗻, emery, yes, the indigenous species. They are planting them over here. They started just 2 years ago, but you can see, if you turn around and then you see the stands, which is now coming up. Just behind you there's one here, which is now coming up. And even if someone tells you this is 2 years, I think you will even doubt the person. But it is because they are constantly on the ground, on the field, and they are caring and nurturing the tree.
Plantain, maize, and others belong to me. Not one of them goes to the government. I would be lying if I say the system is not helping, though I walk very far to the reserve. The harvest is good and it has saved me from being out of work. 𝗕𝗲𝗴𝗿𝗱 was once a beautiful rainforest. The reserve was dominated by economical trees like odum, mahogany, danta, among others. Rainforests provide humans with more than just trees. Lack of vegetation could result in rapidly increasing climate change. The latest report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has projected an increase in average temperatures and heat extremes on the African continent. According to the report, the continent is likely to experience drier conditions. The Director General of Center for Science and Environment, Sunita Narain, says there is no time to lose on the new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report.
Indeed, this report, coming as it is from the normally conventional and conformist world of buttoned-up scientists, should scare us into action, but real and meaningful action. There are some key takeaways from the IPCC report that I would like to discuss. Number one, that the world could hit 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise as early as 2040, which means that the speed of rise of emissions and the consequent temperature increase has accelerated over these last few decades. So instead of this being about the future, we are talking about a change that could be as imminent as 2040.
The Director General of the Indian-based center says countries will have to work even harder to plant more trees.
Currently, oceans and forests absorb some 50% of the emissions that we release in the atmosphere each year. And now what we are hearing is that their ability to absorb these emissions will actually go down as the pace of heating goes up. So now if we take on board what IPCC is saying, then the sinks have reached their tipping points and countries will have to work even harder to plant even more trees to be able to sequester the same amount of carbon dioxide. So I think we need to understand that the world has really run out of excuses. It has run out of time and space, and it needs to act now.
The planting of the trees is therefore timely to mitigate the effects of climate change. A report by Mohammed NURUDEEN.